Hello and welcome to the Samsung Solve for Tomorrow pre-launch webinar. This webinar is intended to give you some information about the competition for those of you who are thinking of entering this year. Just starting with some introductions, we're joined today by Sarah Washbrook, who is from TENZ, Technology Education New Zealand. We have Lucy and Simon and Renee from Acumen, who are the PR company at Act for Samsung. And we have Harmony and myself, Julie, from MOTAT. MOTAT work in partnership with Acumen and Samsung to run the competition, and it is supported by TENZ. What we're hoping to do today for the webinar is to give you some information about the competition itself. I'm hoping to share with you some of our past winners to give you an idea of other entries that have been winners in the past. And then we will talk a little bit about key dates. We'll talk about the prize pool. We'll cover off all of that important information about how to enter the competition. And then there will be an opportunity for questions and answers. So you're welcome to jump on at that point and ask us any questions you have. And that will wrap up the webinar for the day. It will probably be about 30 minutes. Before we start off with all of that, I'm going to hand over to Sarah, who is going to do a karakia for us.
Kia ora everybody, and lovely to see everyone on today and listening to the webinar. This karakia was gifted to TENZ, so it's my honour to say this today for everybody. Māori ora, kia a mātou, arehina mātou I a mātou mahi, ki mihia he huarahi mō te kaupapa o te mautaranga o Hangarau. A whina atu, a whina mai. Te po e here ne I a mātou, hui kai ki e.
Thank you, Sarah. Going to share my screen with you now. And hopefully you're now all looking at the Samsung Solve for Tomorrow competition slide. All right. So what is Samsung Solve for Tomorrow? It is a nationwide competition. It was introduced into New Zealand in 2021. Samsung approached MOTAT earlier than that to look at partnering with us to help introduce the competition into New Zealand schools. The competition has been running globally for many years beforehand in a lot of other countries around the world. And the desire was to bring all of that good competition stuff into New Zealand schools and give New Zealand students the opportunity to participate. We have had 3 competitions to date, 2021 through to 2023. And we have found that the quality of the entries has improved each year, and the number of entries has improved each year. So we are looking this year to increase on our gains from previous years and have more entries and of a higher quality in this year as well. The competition is based around the idea of students identifying problems in their community. So we are wanting your students to use a design thinking approach, just that approach that we use in technology education all of the time, to identify a problem that is relevant to their community, and then to work through that process of engaging with stakeholders and defining their problem, coming up with some potential solutions, ideating, working through a process of prototyping, lots of testing, lots of going back to stakeholders for more user testing and feedback and re-prototyping and iterating and all of those different designs. And then at some point coming to a point where they have an end product or they have implemented their system. So a process that technology education teachers out there would be very familiar with. Just wanting to share with you some of the previous winners. I'm really hoping this video is going to work. This entry was from Cameron Moore, who is a student from Rotorua Lakes High School. He identified the problem in his local community was that of wallabies. Wallabies populations growing in the forests around Rotorua. And he wanted to come up with a humane trap to be able to catch those wallabies and help reduce that problem. So let's see if this will play for us, shall we? So that's Cameron's entry. As you can see, it's quite an impressive process that he's worked through, with coming up with ideas, diving into AI, getting some coding in there, experiencing some failure, but not letting it put him off, going back and trying again, finding a solution, creating a prototype, doing a whole bunch of testing around the prototype. And then you can see on this last page here, he's got some community feedback. Since that competition last year, and he won the competition, he has been in contact with the Department of Conservation and another company called Red Stag, who are working with him to take his prototype to the next stage by providing him with some mentoring expertise and some also some hardware support. So it's a pretty exciting thing that he's been able to achieve there.
Sorry, Julie.
I was just gonna say that if you could, the sound wasn't so great during the video playing, and so if you do want to watch it, it is on the Samsung Solve for Tomorrow competition. The video is there. You can use the sound on there, and if you want to showcase it to your students to give them an example, obviously you can go straight to the website and you can play the video with the full audio from that site too.
Great. We're not going to play a video for this one. We're just going to talk to this one, so that will get around that problem. This runner-up next last year was a gentleman by the name of Thomas Costa from Somerville Intermediate. His approach, or his problem that he identified, was a lost opportunity with water running down drains where we are not harnessing the potential energy that's held by waters, held up on rooftops. And how we could harness that potential energy and turn it into electrical energy. So he worked to create effectively what was a little turbo inside the plastic drain pipe that was going to turn, and that was going to then generate electricity, which would then be stored in a battery. So his product was quite different from Cameron's. Again, you can see in that picture there that he has got a prototype, and the keen-eyed amongst you may recognise the format of his presentation in the background there, which looks suspiciously like a science fair entry, and it is quite right. It was a science fair entry, and there is no problem with you entering a science fair entry into the Samsung Solve for Tomorrow competition. You will need to revisit the criteria of the competition to make sure that you are ticking all of the boxes for Samsung Solve for Tomorrow, making sure that there is that design component evident really clearly in your entry, because the science fair entries tend to be more focused on the science side of things, and we're really wanting that technology design thinking process to be evident. Right, I'm going to hand over to Sarah next, who is going to talk a little bit about key dates.
Kia ora, thank you, Julie. So really excited to obviously launch the Solve for Tomorrow competition today with the webinar. Entries for the competition open on the 1st of May this year. What that means is you can, obviously you can start to register and you can start to register your school, your students, or even if you're not in a school, anyone can take part in the competition as long as you're year 7 upwards. So the entries open then. Now, what we usually do each year is we have the chance to go over and review the plan that you have for the project, and we actually give you feedback or your students feedback so that they can go away and they can think about how they can develop their project that they're working on a little bit deeper, a little bit fuller, and so we give them constructive feedback to support them. Students, if they want to submit their project plan for that feedback, that project plan submission needs to be completed by the 24th of June. Essentially, it is just telling us about what the project is, who it's for, why it's important, and any part of the process that they've started to go through at the time. We will provide feedback on those project plans by the 15th of July. Now, the actual entries themselves don't close until the 2nd of September. So you can see that students will have plenty of time to reflect on the feedback given and obviously complete and continue on with their iterative processes that they're working through. Once the entry is closed, we've usually got quite a few entries to work through and assess, so it takes us a little bit of time. We hope to obviously notify everybody by the 24th of September. So those are the key dates for the competition this year. So entry criteria, essentially there obviously must be students, and we are focusing on year levels 7 to 13. And this is what's great this year. This is the first year that we're actually offering this opportunity open to NCEA levels. So it means that student work that has been or is being completed or has been submitted for NCEA, if you think it is a fantastic project and it would suit and support the criteria for the competition, students are more than welcome to submit those ideas and those projects. Students can enter individually or as part of a team, and the team can be whatever size they wish it to be. So it could be a whole class, for example, that enters as working on one particular project. Obviously, that will come through with how they submit their project that they're actually entering into the competition. The competition as well is open to all students from across Aotearoa. And so open to all, and it's free for everybody to enter. If you have entered before and you want to give it another go, absolutely do. Right? We look forward to seeing all these committed technologists coming in again and giving it a go. The only thing you need to be aware of is that it would need to be a new project. It cannot be something that has been submitted previously because we're in a fresh start and we want to see lots of innovation and creativity from our students and our people who enter. So those are the key entry criteria for the competition this year.
Thanks, Sarah. So this year, like Sarah mentioned, we have 2 age categories. We've got the year 7 to 10 age category, and then another age category for years 11 to 13. So what this means is that we have split the prize pool between the 2 groups. So the winner of each category will get $6,000 in cash, $2,000 in Samsung Tech for themselves, and then $1,000 in Samsung Tech for their school. And then in each category, there'll also be a runner-up, and they will receive $2,000 in Samsung Tech for themselves, as well as $1,000 in Samsung Tech for their school. And then once your project is all finalized and ready to be submitted, now I'm going to talk you through how you actually enter that into the competition. Before I share my screen and take you guys through that, I will just note that the website, if you're looking at it at the minute, does still say Solve for Tomorrow 2023, but that will be updated for 2024 within the next couple of weeks before the competition officially launches.
So Lucy, would you like me to stop sharing so you can share your screen?
Oh, yes, please. That would be great. Thanks, Julie. If I go share my screen. Ooh, I think you might have to allow me to share my screen, Julie. I'm just getting a pop-up box. Host disabled, participant screen sharing.
How annoying is that? How do I do that? Good grief. Any suggestions, people?
Otherwise, what you could do, Julie, is bring up the Samsung Solve for Tomorrow website, and Lucy you can be like the guide and Lucy can talk you through it.
Let me do that.
Yeah, we could do that.
I wonder if while I'm pulling that up, if we want to ask if there's any questions out there on the floor already from people who are wanting questions about what they've already seen. Right.
I just had a quick question. I know that there's a lot of students that enter into the science fair, a project into the science fair. Are they able to enter their science fair project into Solve for Tomorrow? Like, what's the requirements around that? Yeah, absolutely. Students can enter their projects from a science fair or another competition they've done. Like Jolie mentioned, they'll just need to adapt their presentation to make sure that it is following a design thinking process, and using science, technology, English, arts and maths in some way, as well as just science. But yeah, we absolutely welcome entries from other competitions.
Cool. Awesome.
Cool, thank you, Julie. So we can work through this together. So if you go to the How to Enter tab at the top. Amazing. So you'll get to the screen, which has some kind of final tips before you submit your idea, including what formats you can upload. So if you have a read through that before you submit, that's usually just quite a useful way to start. And then once you are ready, you can click on the linked application form, and that will bring you here. So there's a few kind of key details that we need from you at this stage. So if it's got the little red asterisk next to it, that means it's a required field. You have to enter it to be able to submit the form and submit your entry. And the key things we're capturing here is your contact details. So then if you do win the competition, we can get in touch with you to let you know that you've won. So that's really important. This form will also be updated soon with another required field, which will be the entry category, and you will just click either year 7 to 10 or 11 to 13, and that just makes sure that your entry is going to be judged in the right category. And then we have your team member details. So it's really important that you put in here everyone that's worked on the project, so that if you were to win, you'd want them to be included kind of in the group and receive a prize. And that's kind of a T's and C's legal thing, that this is our kind of source of who is in the group and therefore who receives a prize. So anyone who is not on here might miss out on getting that prize. So it's really important, if somebody's worked on the project, make sure they are included in the form. Then we get to the file submission. So there's a whole array of formats that you can upload your project in. So you could do it as a written plan or essay, like a Word document. You could do a PowerPoint, you can do a poster or a diagram and submit that as a PDF, a PowerPoint, a video, or a JPEG. And you can also do a video presentation. So usually those formats will fit within the 30 megabyte size limit that the form allows. But if your project is bigger than that, that's absolutely fine. We will, of course, still accept your entry. It just means that you have to go through another step in the upload. So if that is the case for you, you just need to upload your project to WeTransfer, and that will give you a link that then you can just paste in this feedback field on the form, and that will just make sure that we get that. And finally, there's a few consents to tick. So it's important that if you're a student entering, you've got the consent of your parent or guardian, and just confirming that you've read the terms and conditions and privacy policy. And then once you've confirmed that you're not a robot, we will receive your entry, and it'll be with our wonderful judges, and we'll let you know your feedback and how you get on.
And Lucy, if someone in the heat of the moment, it all goes wrong for them, technology lets them down, what should they do then?
Then you can get in touch with the Solve for Tomorrow team at solvefortomorrownz@samsung.com. And we have access to that, and Samsung has access to that. So we usually get back to you pretty quickly and can help sort whatever tech issues going on, because they do happen.
Awesome. And Lucy, is that the email address you use as well if you've got any questions, during the process of the competition?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you have a question after this webinar and throughout the competition, you can just reach us at that email address and we'll get back to you.
Cool. And it was that solvefortomorrownz@samsung.com?
Correct. Yeah,
Awesome.
that's it.
Awesome. And also, I was just curious as well, are there any other online resources that we can access if we're looking just for some more information around the competition and, what we need?
Yeah, absolutely. So on the Solve for Tomorrow website, there is a resources page which has some great resources from TENS and MOTAT that can help you throughout the competition with each phase in the design thinking process, some recorded webinars like this one, talking you through the different stages of the design thinking process. So you'll find all of that on the resources page on the Solve for Tomorrow website.
Awesome, awesome.
One thing that we haven't mentioned in terms of the forms is that there's a similar form that you submit when you submit your project plan. So on the How to Enter page, where the application form is now, once project plan is open, there will be a link that you can click to the project plan form as well in the same process.
Cool. Also, I'm just curious as well about the marking rubric for the competition. Where can I find that information?
Yeah, absolutely. That will be up on the Solve for Tomorrow website as well. It's currently in the FAQ section, but we will be bringing that onto the resources page so it's all in one place for you.
Cool. Amazing. So that will be a marking rubric for the year 7 to 10, and then also a separate one for the 11 and 13 group as well?
Yes, so there will be 2 to come.
Okay, cool. Awesome. Awesome. And when will those be available on the website?
They'll be available shortly after the competition launches, kind of mid-May.
Mid-May, okay. And I think the 11 to 13 group will be available, was it by July? Just because it's a new group this year.
Yeah. I'll hand over to MOTAT to confirm on the timings of that one, as there are judges and in charge of all the criteria.
Yeah, you're quite right, Renee, because the year 11 to 13 group is a new group this year. TENS, Sarah and I will be working together on developing the assessment rubric for that in May, and we would aim to have that available and up on the website probably by the end of May, early June.
Cool. Awesome. Perfect. And also just curious as well, super excited about this, but how many times can somebody enter the competition?
In a single
Is it
year?
limited to one, or can we do multiple? Can we submit multiple, submissions, or?
Yeah, I just from a judge's perspective, I think it is better to limit yourself to one entry and do it really, really well. A really good entry, takes a fair bit of time to do it justice. And I'd prefer that, if someone's come up with 5 great ideas, maybe they pick the best one, they really throw all their time and energy at that, and maybe keep the other ones for subsequent years, and they can enter the next one next year. I think if you tried to enter too many times in one year, you would just divide your energy, and you'd end up with probably, not as compelling an entry.
Awesome. Yeah, makes sense.
Hey, oh, sorry, I was just going to say, got a couple of questions, Lucy, if possible.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just wanted to know, just how many times would one be able to enter?
I think we just covered that.
Sorry. Oh no, sorry. Sorry. And so when do we know when we're successful, when whoever wins is going to be successful?
Yeah, so myself or someone else in the Solve for Tomorrow team will contact you via the contact details you provide in your application form. So probably an email first, maybe a call, and that will be by the 24th of September.
Oh, wonderful. And just wondering as well, would Samsung own my idea at all?
No, you will retain the rights, or your students will retain the rights to any of the kind of intellectual property surrounding your idea. Samsung will be able to promote you in the idea through the different channels, kind of like how we just showed you Cameron Moore, last year's winner's entry. So it could be used to showcase the competition and your awesome idea to other students, but that idea will always remain yours.
Excellent, excellent. And if I do miss the deadline for project plan submissions, am I able to still enter Solve for Tomorrow?
Yeah, absolutely. So the project plan step is optional. But in saying that, we do really recommend that students submit project plans. So if you can get it in, definitely do. Having the judges' feedback really goes a long way in those final entries. But understand how busy the term and everything can get. So if you do miss that deadline, that's okay. You still have until the 2nd of September to submit your final entry, regardless of whether you did a project plan or not.
Awesome. And you were saying that the terms and conditions can be found on the website, correct?
Yeah. We can share a copy of them with you, or you can find them on the Samsung website under the FAQ section.
Awesome.
Cool. And also, I'm just curious as well, who judges? Who judges this competition?
So that would be our wonderful Julie and Sarah that we have on the call from Motat and TANS, as well as Dr. Susie Wiles and Dr. Joel Rindelab.
Awesome. How exciting.
Yeah.
That must be a fun job, reading through all those ideas. I
It
like
is.
the sound of that.
It fills you with hope for the future, actually. We've got some really exciting young innovators coming through the ranks.
Nice, nice. And also, Julie, just curious as well, does this competition complement the New Zealand curriculum?
Totally does, absolutely does. And as you can see, we have the support of Technology Education New Zealand. That's how closely it is aligned to the technology education curriculum. Sarah, I'm going to bat to you to speak a little bit to this as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So the marking criteria for both of the categories directly align to technology education, especially when we've been going through the refresh recently with the NCEA change package for level 1. So that's why we're spending a little bit of time to review the rubric, the marking criteria for the competition, to make sure that obviously this is going to support the learning that's taking place in the classroom already. And so that the teachers, it's not an extra to take on board, it's something that's part of their teaching as well. And not only can it go towards NCEA level, but it can also go towards the competition too. So yeah, closely aligned to New Zealand curriculum.
Awesome. Wonderful. That sounds great.
Just wondering if there are any other questions out there from other attendees. I'm going to wait the standard 3 seconds that teachers wait for the responses from students. Also wanting to say that as well as the variety of resources that are on the Samsung Solve for Tomorrow website that are available to you at any time, because Motat is working in partnership with Samsung, we make ourselves available to help as well. So if you are not too sure whether you want to enter, if maybe what you've seen here sounds a bit complex or something like that, please feel free to reach out to us here at Motat. And we're very happy to sit down and talk you through it, show you how easy it is, show you how exciting it can be for your students, and just really encourage you to take that first step. And on that note, unless there are other questions or any other thoughts from anyone at Acumen or Sarah?
I think, yeah, that's the key info. Thanks, Julie.
Okay. I'm going to hand back to Sarah now to do a closing karakia.
Well, thank you, Julie. I'll just, before I do, I just want to say thank you for coming along or watching the webinar video, and we really hope, fingers crossed, all the best for you and your students taking part in the competition, because it's going to be awesome. So just finishing with a karakia today. Kia amatu katoa, ko motu mato I amato mahi, I amatu kopapa hoki. Arahina mato, kia koe, mato I amato, hei papa. Kia whakatapua matu ki nai kaupapa me ngā mea e whakapono. Manakitia mai mātou. Kia ora.
Kia ora.
Kia ora.